Welcome to RTA Motorsports.
Hello everyone, welcome. Crash here, this is RTA Motorsports. Now, I'm getting a lot of questions as to what settings are we using for VR. And, you know, we're live streaming at the same time. A lot of people are noticing we're getting decent frame rates, we're getting a decent gameplay experience, and they're having issues actually getting in. So, what settings are we using and what things do we have to modify? First off, we're going to go with that we're using the Samsung Odyssey. The Samsung Odyssey has similar panels into it, actually the same panels in it, that are in the HTC Vive Pro. They are a higher resolution, so some settings didn't work for us. For instance, like the settings that Gamer Muscle posted. I normally never have any issues with his settings. Normally I direct everyone to his videos whenever he does VR guides or VR settings guides. But this one here didn't work for us, so we had to do something a little bit different. And I'm going to go into that right now. Also, you're going to want to look at Assetto Corsa's release notes, because this video, although it's posted right now, is during their early access. So things may change as their early access updates happen, and you're going to make sure that you follow with Assetto Corsa's recommendations through their early access guides, because they may recommend different things. Updates may happen. Some of this may not even be a factor in future releases. So let's actually change the view here. Now you can see what we're seeing on the monitor. First off, you're going to want to, in this release, do everything in the 2D version of Assetto Corsa Competizione, so that way it will save and then you could go and enjoy it in your VR experience. Right now, they are recommending that we do so as far as your controller settings as well as video options. So we're going to go down to video, and these are our settings here. I know in our last live stream that we just did, I just went over this, but I just wanted a dedicated video so you don't have to sit through an hour-long video to try to find this. Full screen is set to enabled, VSync disabled, resolution scale 100. Now I know on Gamer Muscle videos, video that he just posted, his resolution scale is actually at 200 with his anti-aliasing disabled, as well as a lot of these settings down here on low. We tried those settings and I couldn't even get in the opening menu without it skipping like crazy, to the point where I couldn't even get past the opening menu. Yeah, so we couldn't use that. So we left resolution scale at 100, which kind of does make it a little bit blurry. But to me, it's acceptable right now as it is an early release. It doesn't look as clear and as crisp as like iRacing right now, but it looks pretty darn good. View distance epic, shadows epic, anti-aliasing is at high with anti-aliasing type temporal, effects mid, post-processing mid, sharpness I bumped that from 80% to 100, and it kind of helped me actually read things on the dash a little bit. Foliage high, texture epic, frame rate off. Mirror quality high, I lowered that down from epic to high. Notice a little bit of a boost in frame rate, or at least how smooth it was, or perceived smoothness. Opponent's visibility I put down to 20. I don't know if it's referring to how many cars we could visibly see on track at one time. Motion blur disabled. I'd never run with that. It just seems very weird, especially in VR. Saturation, I think this is referring to the color saturation. I left that at 100. It seems to look pretty darn good in VR. It doesn't look cartoony at all. Another thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to, right now they're recommending we're doing this. You're going to want to go to your documents and then Assetto Corsa Competizione file. The reason why is if you're running the Samsung Odyssey, now in the beginning some people said that in the Oculus they didn't have this problem, but then some people later on messaged me saying, hey, I have an Oculus, I have that same problem. So it's not really the same from headset to headset. You may or you may not have this issue altogether. When you first load up, if you do not see the menu, look down. And the menu may actually be directly below you or behind you. And that's an issue we had. Even if we recentered the headset position, the menu was still directly below us. And I would have to take the headset off and position it behind us just to see what we were selecting. So we actually had to change that. And it's not ideal, but it's the only fix we have at the moment. So that way we could see what we're actually doing. And let's see, let's change this over so that way you could see the document setting. There we go. Okay. So right here is my documents. You're going to want to go to your PC, documents, and then Assetto Corsa Competizione. Now this is labeled or this laid out in their settings. I mean, in their update. So if you go to ACC on Steam, they tell you exactly what to do and how to get to here. But these are the settings that we're using. We had to kind of play around with it and see what worked for us. So you're going to want to go to config, and you want to go down to VR settings. Now you're going to want to open this with Notepad or whatever you use. Notepad works fine for me. There's not a lot of things on here. And you're going to see these menus, these options here. So main menu layer distance is the main menu layer, and then how far away from you it is. Layer size is how big it is. Layer type. Now everything by default is set to 1. So that would be a fixed menu. So when you turn your head, the menu doesn't move with you, which is really the ideal menu type in VR. So that way, if you have your HUD on the screen, when you turn your head, you could read certain things on the HUD, and you could lean in and zoom in and out of the HUD or the main menu if you need to read something a little bit closer. HUD layer type or main menu layer type, or all of them I set to 2. That's the only way to snap it to the headset. But the problem is here, and this is very important, is it moves with your headset. So any little movement, we have a motion rig here, so if our head is shaking or anything like that, it shakes with you. So it's sometimes a little bit harder to read, especially in the middle of a race, as well as if things are too big, if the layer size is too big, or if it's too close to you, things can end up on your peripheral view and you can't turn your head to read it. It's going to move with your head. So you have to almost like turn your eyes in your headset to look at your peripheral to read certain things. So you need to kind of adjust the distance and the size of the different layers to what works for you. So these are our settings there. Main menu layer distance is 150, layer size 160, and layer type on all of them is 2. Race main menu layer distance 55, layer size 55, layer type again 2. HUD layer distance 40, layer size 50, HUD layer type again 2, and spectator screen mode is 5. I have not messed with that. That is the default setting. Once you adjust your settings here, then you go to File, you go to Save, and then you restart Assetto Corsa Competizione in VR, or, well, it would be VR at this point, but then you restart it, and that's when you actually can load in the title and see all the menus in that orientation. So if you're having any sort of issues, definitely leave them in the comment box below. I'm going to try to follow them up as best as I can. I know there's a lot of various issues going on that we didn't even have, but hopefully this kind of gets you all up and running. Now, just a quick disclaimer, our system is a Ryzen 2700X. It's overclocked, not on a crazy level. We do have a water cooler on it. And then our GPU is a gigabyte Aurous Extreme 1080 Ti. So it is a beefy system. It's nothing super crazy or inappropriate at this moment, but it is what a lot of you seem to be running. A lot of you are running Intel systems. A lot of you are running Ryzen systems with 1080 Ti. So if you're having any issues, this is what I'm running. You should be able to get in, or maybe try Gamer Muscle's recommendations. Hopefully that works for you. I was hoping that would work for us, but it did not. So here we go, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this helps you out. So again, consider subscribing, and I'll see you all next time.